Welcome to Poland Daily History with me, Nicholas Richardson. In the previous episodes, we've been discussing the history of Krakow. In this episode, we will look into how the German army took control of Krakow and replaced the city's mayor, Stefan Klimecki, with the head of the general government, the bloodthirsty Hans Frank.
The mayor himself, Stefan Klimecki, was very brave, and unfortunately the Germans didn't take too kind to his decision, and 3 years later he was one of the members of the Polish intelligentsia that were taken out to a forest outside of Krakow and unceremoniously shot. Unfortunately, just as the mayor of Warsaw, Stefan Starzyński, despite giving up the city, he didn't survive the war either. Even though Krakow didn't suffer the same fate as Warsaw, the war years were just as difficult there as anywhere else on Polish territory. Immediately after the invasion on November 4th, the Germans decided to make Krakow the capital city of this General Gouvernement, which was this little rump. It's wrong to call it a state, since it wasn't a state, but they incorporated large parts, or annexed rather, large parts of Western Poland and made it directly a part of the German Reich. But some parts of central Poland, including Warsaw, Krakow, were administered in this quasi-state-like form that was ruled a little bit like the personal kingdom of a man named Hans Frank.
A particularly unpleasant king, I might say.
Definitely. And he didn't want to stay in Warsaw. The city had more of a rebellious reputation than Krakow, so probably he felt that Krakow could be personally safer for him. But also Krakow still had those magnificent buildings from its time as the capital city of Poland up to 1596. And he claimed that these were buildings built by Germans, and that he wanted to live in a more glorious city. So he decided to make Krakow his capital instead of Warsaw. Just 2 days after the announcement of making Krakow the capital of the General Gouvernement, the SS called on the professors and the leaders of the Jagiellonian University to meet with them in Collegium Nobilium, one of the great buildings of the university. There they told them that they are representatives of an enemy nation, that they themselves, by having fostered patriotic feelings for decades before the war, that they had contributed to the aggression against Germany, and that they will now therefore be punished. So 184 of them, including the headmaster, the principal, were taken away by the SS, put in concentration camps, more than any other in Auschwitz, and very few of them survived. So it was one of the toughest blows against the Polish intelligentsia during the Second World War. Later on in 1944, when the Soviets took the city, naturally, in Warsaw, you had the Warsaw Uprising breaking out in the summer of 1944. In Krakow, however, there were some plans initially to launch not a nationwide uprising, but whenever the Red Army reached a city, the idea was for the Poles to rise up in arms against the Germans and welcome the Red Army as the host of a certain area and city, and thus it would give them legitimacy and a leg to stand on when it comes to claiming that they are in control of a certain area. Such uprisings broke out in Vilna, or Vilnius as it is known today, and Lvov or Lviv, and then most famously in Warsaw, where 250,000 Poles were killed either as members of the resistance or just as civilians that were massacred in most cases.
Adam, I'm going to have to ask you to pause there because, as usual, the clock has defeated us. There we are. I've had to ask Adam to pause, but fear not. If you join us next time on Poland Daily History, as we hope you will, we'll pick up the story of Krakow. In the meantime, thank you for watching.